feels. Working. She feels.
Welcome.
It's just a really crazy story. I mean, maybe the onions were just showing a little too much skin. I don't know if you heard about this, but in an eye-watering move, Facebook has blocked the Gaze Seed Company's advertisement for $1.99 Walla Wallas. Why would they block an ad for onions? They say that the onions were positioned in a sexually suggestive manner. Okay, all right. I saw the ad. There was nothing at all sexual about those onions in the very least. I found them very unappealing. It reminds me of that Bee Gees song, Chive Talking. Come on, you know it. Sing it. Hey, listen, ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, just an example of all the fun that we have here week after week as we talk about living the best digital life. We talk about all the gadgets and gizmos, what's left of your online security and privacy, which, let me tell you, it's not a lot. You can find us on 400 top stations from coast to coast. And do us a favor, as you are listening to the Kim Komando Show on your local radio station, be sure that you reach out to them and say, hey, thanks for everything that you're doing during this pandemic, because the local radio stations are really doing a stellar job in keeping everybody informed. And while you're there, also thank them for carrying the Kim Komando Show. And you can also hear us globally on the American Forces Network Radio. This is interesting. American Forces Network Radio serves more than 375,000 American servicemen and women. Listen to this. The Department of Defense civilians, their families stationed at bases and American embassies and consulates in 175 countries. It's really huge. And 200 U.S. Navy, U.S. Coast Guard, and the U.S. Navy's military sea lift command ships at sea. Wow, isn't that something? And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your service to our country. And that's right, it is called the Kim Komando Show because, after all, I'm America's beloved digital goddess, here with you once again.
We're not worthy.
That's right.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
All right, let's get this party started with 5 things that you need to know. And I scour the tech news every single day for our website, our social media feeds, our daily tech update that you hear on this station, or maybe you're catching it as a podcast, our breaking free news alerts, and for you here on this 3-hour national radio show and podcast. And let's start by revisiting what they called exposure notification that Apple and Google partnered. And they came out with it a few months ago that brings this whole controversial topic of contact tracing to your smartphone. The idea is that by using low-power Bluetooth and random identifiers, you're anonymously tracked everywhere you go, and then you'll be notified if you've ever been near a person who has tested positive for COVID-19. Okay, so here in the U.S., it's only been the last 2 months or so that the states have really started rolling out their own apps based on Google and Apple's APIs to track the virus's spread. So here are the states: New Jersey, Alabama, Delaware, Nevada, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Wyoming. They now all have exposure warning apps. But even if these apps work like they're supposed to, they're really only as effective as if people actually download them and use them. And if you're using one right now, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know how it's working. Let me know how you feel about this contact tracing going on. Anyway, there's a chance that this collected data could let you know that you've petted the COVID dragon at some point. It's also a guarantee that you're going to be trusting big tech and government agencies with your data, and there's going to be a lot of it. But I'll tell you one thing, these contact tracing apps, they certainly haven't gone viral. Number 2, the IRS has a new slogan: we've got what it takes to take what you've got. Taxes are just a fact of life because no one wants any extra attention from the IRS, right? And if you've ever wondered to what degree everyone's favorite government agency is keeping tabs, you have to listen to this. A new report by Motherboard says the IRS is currently being investigated for what? Yes, for using location data without a warrant. Whoopsies. Yeah, the IRS Criminal Investigation Unit brought smartphone location data from a company called Ventel so they could use it to locate suspects. And Ventel gets that data from everyday apps on your phone. Maybe your game app, maybe your weather app, maybe even a flashlight app. Now, unfortunately for the IRS, the people they were looking at, they weren't even in the data that they got. But it serves as a good reminder to check your phone's location settings and what permissions that your apps have. We've got a lot of tips on how to adjust those settings and how to check over on our website at komando.com. And in this case, it looks like the IRS, they're going to have to pay this time. I hear these government investigations can be really taxing. All right, number 3, you can't even trust your remote anymore. Wow, it's bad enough that our phones, our tablets, smart speakers, and computers are all spying on us. Let's not forget about your TV. Yes, and those streaming services are as well. And even your smart robotic vacuum has some dirt on you. But what about your trusty television remote? That's got to be okay, isn't it? Hate to break it to you, but researchers from a security firm called GuardCore figured out that a voice-activated TV remote can be hacked and turned into an eavesdropping device. Specifically, they tested Comcast Xfinity XR11 voice remote. And instead of the usual infrared system that you'll find in most television remotes, this one uses the RF spectrum to communicate with the cable box. So here's what it means. Any hacker with a cheap RF transmitter and a little know-how can listen in on someone's conversation through the remote from up to 65 feet away. Yes, the TV remote now is even hackable. And there's about 18 million XR11s out there. And if you have one of these, you can get the firmware update through your set-top box. This reminds me of the first time I saw a universal remote. I said to myself, wow, this really changes everything. All right, number 4 is not really a tech story, but I thought it was really interesting. It may not seem all that long ago, but it does for me that we were sitting in a big television studio like here we are at Westar, and everybody was here. The room was loaded. We had the full Bloomberg television production crew. We were just having a great time. Well, what happened? Yes, the pandemic. And a lot of these game shows that you see on TV closed down. But the game show The Price is Right is coming back, but this time with a redesigned set. And for the first time in its almost 50-year history, there's not going to be that audience to come on down. That's right. They considered using a Zoom audience, but they said they couldn't because they were afraid too many people just Google the prices. All right, but that's in California. So now we're going to take a trip to New York, where Saturday Night Live has taken a different approach. There's no Zoom audience for them. But it recently opened its 46th season, which a much smaller live audience. There's still a catch. Per the New York Department of Health reopening guidelines, the public still isn't allowed to attend live television shows. So SNL had to pay the audience like they were cast members of the show. This is a loophole. Audience members had to go to the SNL website. You fill out a form, you're screened, and then you're chosen online. And then you receive up to $150 each just to go watch the show in person. Talk about The Price is Right. Finally, number 5. It's my job to always keep you informed. And sometimes it's a little difficult because everything has been converted to a smart device. And that includes smart toys. I mean, smart adult toys. So it should come as no surprise that not a lot of thought was putting into these smart adult toys that they couldn't be hacked. A perfect example is a problem recently discovered in a smart chastity cage for men. Yes, you heard me correct. A smart chastity cage for men. Pretty sure I don't need to tell you what it attaches to, but it is smart. It connects via Bluetooth to a smartphone that can be controlled remotely to your partner or significant other. A $200 device can apparently been hacked and taken over remotely, according to the BBC. A hacker who takes this device over can lock the cage. The gadget has no manual override. That means the only way to remove the chastity cage from a male's very sensitive area is to cut it off. Okay. Who comes up with this stuff? I mean, is it just a group of marketing people that are sitting around a table and say, I got a great idea. What is it, Joe? Well, I was thinking that, we ought to come out with a smart chastity cage for men. And everybody at the table goes, yeah, wow, what a paradigm that is. Ooh, yeah, we're going to really change the world with this. I'm not really a couples counselor here, but if you've got to bring this into your relationship, it may not be the best relationship for you. Just saying. All right, coming up in this week's Digital Life Hack, it's phenomenal, okay? We totally walk you through step by step. How many memories, how many great photos do you have on your phone? And you're not sure if you lost your phone that you would actually have those pictures anymore? Well, don't worry, you have come to the right place, because in this week's Digital Life Hack, we're going to tell you exactly how to get the phones off, or how to get the photos off your phone, rather, and into a safe place, as well as we have all of your great phone calls here on this coast-to-coast broadcast of the Kim Komando Show. How about we start this hour with Larry in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi there, Larry.
How are you, Kim. Great show.
Thank you. What's going on there in Mount Holly, North Carolina?
Well, I just moved here about 6 months ago. I was in Florida. I've been all over the country, but, after 12 years in Florida, I had to get out of there. There's like 2 seasons, hot and hotter. It's just brutal.
You know what? We were watching a show last night. It's like selling mega mansions, right? And it's just like junk TV. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And so they have like this husband and wife, and he's a hedge fund guy from New York, and they say that she's a socialite from New York.
Right.
I'm like, she really didn't look like a socialite to me, but that's okay. All right. But anyway, so they're looking at this $26.5 million mansion. Okay, first of all, how do you afford a $26.5 million house? Okay. But she was saying like, oh, I'm going to have all these tea parties outside, and I'm going to have all these parties here on the waterway and this. And I actually looked at Ian and Barry, and I'm like, her hair is going to look like crap every moment. Okay, because of the humidity.
Right. That never ends. Hardly.
So.
I love the word socialite. It's like sales consultant become a word when you don't know what else to do. But, so to make a long story short, I know we're probably always short on time, but my background's in cable TV. That's what's taken me all over the country. But along the way, I got into radio and did a show from Cincinnati, which is my hometown,
awesome.
And got the bug in Los Angeles when I was there. I did a little bit there. Jumped to almost current. I had to stop the radio thing because of my career. And then everybody's doing a podcast these days, so I wanted to jump into that. It took me a while, but I finally did. And then I had to resurrect some sort of, website to go with it. I think you got to do that. And so I had this site, and then the past month I've been busy. I forgot to pay my domain name hosting thing. Well, I finally paid it. It wasn't even much money. But then I noticed my website vanished. And so I got into this world. I'm not a big techie. So I just started emailing, making phone calls, trying to find where my website went. Because you would think, just like any other entity like this, the thing would come back on. Like your cable bill, for instance. You didn't pay it, they shut it off, which they rarely do. But they can. And in this case, I don't know what to do. So that's why. And then I thought about you, and I figured, maybe you might have an answer.
Well, you sent me an email, and thank you for that, because John and I actually did some research. John is like our lead IT guy here, okay? John's my IT guy, if that tells you anything. So we did a Who Is search on your domain, and here's the bottom line, is that we think that you're confusing the registrar with the hosting company. So that's why you're coming up empty. So you've paid the registration fee, but now you have to pay the hosting company. So you have to go back to the hosting company, which I believe you said was HostGator or Bluehost. So if you go back to them and say, listen, how do I pay? Because it says my account's suspended, then that will bring your website back to life. And then always set a reminder when this stuff is due. Because let me tell you, you get busy, we all get busy. And then you forget to pay it, and then you're sitting here like you, Larry, like going, what's going on? If you need any additional help, we're here for you. Stay right where you are. Our life hack is definitely coming up. Saw this story, and it's something that I definitely wanted to pass along to you, because I thought if I pass this along and we help just one person, think of the power if we all got together and if we shared it, and if you just helped one person. The president and CEO of the Women's Funding Network, they have created a new signal for help. It's a hand gesture that if you're in a situation and you're on a Zoom call, and if something's going on in your house and you need help because of domestic violence or whatever, it's a silent signal to family and friends that you're in danger on your video calls. And it also doesn't leave any trace. There's no call history, there's no messages, there's no email, there's nothing. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to make the signal, so in case you ever see it, okay, that you recognize it. So to make the signal, a person should place an open palm with a tucked thumb in front of the camera, and then fold all their fingers over the thumb, so it kind of forms a fist. Now, if you check out komando.com, we've posted more information about this new signal for help, including a graphic that shows the gestures. And we've also included a lot of information about what you should do if someone ever shows you that signal during a call. I would really encourage you to read it and share it with your loved ones, again, with your family members and friends. We're in a very strange time, aren't we? 2020. Boy, It's kind of like I wish that we could just go to 2021 already and just kind of bypass everything. I was getting ready to do the show today, and I thought to myself, wow, I haven't, had to do a television show or had the chance to do a television show since April. I mean, when unfortunately, because of the pandemic and social distancing, we just, couldn't fill up this soundstage with everybody. And then I started thinking about Prime Day. Prime Day used to be in July. Of course, they couldn't do it in July because they didn't have that many healthy workers. They didn't have the stock that they needed, they being Amazon. And so now Prime Day starts this coming week. And what about Black Friday? Well, Black Friday starts this coming next week too, because everything is just in a whole jumble. And when I started thinking about who I could talk to about Prime Day, who could actually tell me exactly what is going to happen on Prime Day, what's happening to Black Friday, you have to go to somebody every once in a while who's smarter than you are. So Kristen McGrath is the editor of BlackFriday.com. We've had her here on the show several times, and she just has the ability to get down to brass tacks. No fluff. She just tells you exactly what's going on. So I had a chance to speak with her for about 45 minutes or so this past week. And we put together this great podcast. But here, I want you to take a listen to just a little bit of what she had to say. So that's just a snippet of my conversation with Kristen. To get the podcast, just go to wherever you get your podcasts, your favorite podcast player, and then search for Komando. That's Komando. And then look for Tech You Should Know. And this is something that you really need to listen to, even if you find it after Prime Day, because we go through what you should be buying on Prime Day, what you should be buying on Black Friday, what you should be buying between Black Friday and Christmas and the New Year. Really incredible intel, because you know what? Let's face it, money's tight. We need to save all the money that we can, right? And so you don't want to waste your money. So be sure wherever you get your podcasts, just search for my last name, Komando. A couple of podcasts will pop up, in addition to maybe some other podcasts that I've been on. So you want to go ahead and get Tech You Should Know. And also, while you're there, get the daily tech updates. Just 1 minute. You listen to it every morning, and then you have learned something that you need to move forward. It's time now for our digital life hack, and you definitely don't want to miss this. And this week is brought to you by Simply Safe. And here's the thing about home security companies. Most trap you with high prices, tricky contracts, and lousy customer support. So while there are a lot of options out there, there's only one no-brainer, and that's Simply Safe. Simply Safe has everything you need to protect your home with none of the drawbacks of traditional home security. It has a total arsenal of sensors and cameras to blanket every room, window, and door tailored specifically for your home. Professional monitoring keeps watch ready to send police, fire, or medical professionals if there's an emergency. You can set it up yourself in under an hour. Just peel and stick the sensors exactly where you need them. No technician required. And I love this. There's no contract, no pushy sales guys, no hidden fees, no fine print. And all of this starts at $15 a month. See why U.S. News & World Report named it the best overall home security of 2020. Head to simplysafekim.com and get a free HD security camera. That's simplysafekim.com. Let me tell you, today's times, it's tough. It's scary out there. You need a home security system, and you need Simply Safe. Go to simplysafekim.com. Don't put this off, because you're going to get a free HD security camera. That's simplysafekim.com. All right, how many photos do you think are in your smartphone right now? A study conducted by Gigum found that the average person keeps 630 photos and 25 videos on their device at any given moment. I have more. Maybe you do too. So what I wanted to do is put together a step-by-step tutorial for you about how you can get your photos off of your phone and have a backup in case anything were to happen to your phone. So step one is to back up your photos to the cloud. We're going to tell you how to do it on iOS and Android. In addition to that, there's Google Photos. And don't forget, with your Amazon Prime account, you also have photo storage right there. I know you're thinking, yeah, I get free 2-day shipping, but you also have photo storage. A lot of people don't realize that. Step number 2 is to use a reliable backup service. We've been talking about iDrive.com for years. If you use promo code Kim, is that you're going to get 90% off your first year. And that's $6.95. You're going to get 90% off of that. Okay. There's no reason why your photos and why your documents and everything's not up on iDrive. And number 3 is I want you to watch out for these quick fixes. You've seen them advertised, the photo sticks. I get emails from you from time to time. Say, hey, Kim, what do you think of the photo stick? I saw it advertised in late night TV. Okay, here's the deal. It's just a 128 gig flash drive. It's lightweight, it's easy to use, it doesn't give you any protections. If you look at the reviews on Amazon, not so good. Missy Cat wrote, won't open at all. I have to return it. I really want it to work. Surreal says, I had 60,000 images. This little stick managed to eliminate the duplicates, so now I have 24,000. Okay, maybe they had a little bit better luck, but still, it's kind of crazy. If you need your photos nearby, you can get an external hard drive. I'll let you do that, and I'm going to pick out the best ones for you, don't worry. And to learn more about this and to get all the steps that you need, and do it now while you're thinking about it, head over to our official homepage. That's komando.com, of course. And there's a link that says Kim Show. Just click there and you'll find everything that you need. Okay, what else can be hacked in our lives? How about some smart plugs? Yeah, I got to tell you more about that. Still to come this hour of the Kim Komando Show. And just want to remind you, if you're listening, the show gets interrupted for whatever the reason, you can get the entire show over at getkim.com. It's the podcast and the webcast, and you get a 30-day free trial. It's just a few bucks a month after that. And, of course, we offer substantial discounts for seniors, military vets, and, of course, service personnel. So, get the free trial, if you want to, over at getkim.com. Darlene in Bloomington, Illinois. Hi, Darlene.
Hello.
So how can I help you today?
Well, I have a little conundrum.
Okay.
I have a friend with a disability who's going to have a birthday next week, and she's gone through 2 Nooks and 1 Kindle, and she destroys the charging port.
Oh,
And
really?
she really wants to use it for, the typical videos and downloading books, but, I'm working with a person who's in a 43-year-old body, but the functioning level of 9-year-olds. So I'm thinking something that could go onto one of those flat charging units would be maybe something that's within her realm, because, I get the call every month, it's not charging.
Oh, yeah, that's, well, of course, the good news is that we can always help folks out, right? There's a standard called Qi, and that's not how you would spell it, because it's from China. So it's not Chee, it's Qi, okay? And it's Qi certified. So here's the deal, is that if you buy a tablet, and if it says that it's Qi certified, you can buy a wireless charger for any tablet. Okay, so it doesn't matter what tablet that you buy her. And so you say, what did you say was about a 9-year-old with her?
Yeah, her functioning level is about like a 9-year-old, third grade, 4th grade level. So she's just trying to force that Android thing in there and just wrecking it. I mean, it just looks horrible.
Okay, well, here's what you might want to think about, and just look at it. Because I don't know your friend, so I don't, and I wouldn't want to do anything or give this person something that they would be offended by. But Amazon has a Fire HD tablet for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing is indestructible. As a matter of fact, they say that if the kid destroys it, you could send it back and they'll send you a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might want to think about going down that path. You could certainly get a Fire HD for, $150. And, coming up, good news is that you have Prime Day and all this stuff is going to be totally on sale. And so if you're looking at an Amazon Fire, then you could, like I said, that'll be on sale next week, or the Fire for kids. Or you just buy a regular tablet, and, you got all kinds of companies like Mophie and Belkin and everybody else. And these wireless chargers, they're really easy to set up. I mean, it doesn't require anything to make them work. You just plug them in, and then you take your gadget, your device, and then you just lay it on top of it, and then it charges. And the only downside to the wireless charging is that if you do have a case on it, it doesn't always work, unfortunately. But these wireless chargers, they are probably anywhere between, $20, $25, and they can go up. As a matter of fact, there are wireless chargers. Like, let's say you're a big Apple fan and you're a big Apple freak. And so you've got the iPhone, the watch, and the AirPods, and you're sitting there at night wondering, like, how can I charge all my Apple stuff the best way? Well, you can buy one of these wireless charging pads that's made for all of your Apple stuff. So you can just put your phone on it, put your AirPods, and put your watch, and then everything's all just good to go, and you can go to sleep in Apple land and happy that the next day everything's going to be all charged up and ready to go. Darlene, thank you so much for your call. Coming right back, some smart plugs. Okay, they're really handy. I get that. And I have some in my house. And so what basically a smart plug allows you to do is to make something smart that's not. And so if you just have a regular old lamp and you want to be able to turn it on and off from the comfort of your couch while you're watching The Price is Right or Jeopardy, is that you just plug that into a smart plug, and then suddenly you have a capability of to turn that on and off via your phone. But there's some problems with some certain smart plugs that I need to tell you about, and that's still to come this hour of the Kim Komando Show. A UK-based consumer group, which they found some major security flaws in the smart plugs. And they bought 10 plugs for testing. They range from popular brands like TP-Link, okay, to Hive, and then lesser-known brands like Miros and Ajax Online. 9 out of the 10 smart plugs had issues. The TP-Link Casa smart plug, a hacker could seize control of the plug and the power going to a connected device. Now, supposedly a software patch is going to be out this month so that you can go ahead and patch your smart plug. Did you ever think like you'd hear those words in one sentence? Yes, there's going to be a security update to patch your smart plug. Over at Komando.com, we have a list of the safer alternatives. And speaking of Amazon Prime Day, just want to keep you aware that all weekend and all next week is that we're going to have tons of specials and links for you to check out. And stay right where you are. We have another jam-packed hour of the Kim Komando Show you definitely don't want to miss here on the West Star Multimedia Network. Hey, thanks for watching a past episode of my national radio show. That's why it's called The Kim Komando Show Rewind. Now, to get the entire show, all 3 hours, when it airs live, or you can get on demand, head over to getkim.com and you can become a member of the Komando community. There are a ton of perks. Aside from just the show, you get free ebooks, a place to get answers to your tech questions, and more of me. So come on, what are you waiting for? Click that link right now and become a member. And thank you.